Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Game Week 15 pod of the FPL Wire. It feels nice to be doing this twice a week. I'm your host, Zoph, and I'm joined by my co hosts, Late Riser and Pras. Big game week for you, LR, with the triple Arsenal defense coming in.
Double Arsenal defense,
All
but yeah,
right.
thanks to Arsenal Wanderers FC, it worked out.
Interesting, right? I just love the dynamic how it's changed at Arsenal. I remember we hark back to the whole Ramsey thing at Stoke, the Arsene Wenger days. There's a bit of derision from Arsenal fans over the whole set piece thing, right? It's not actual real football, and now you see they're the set piece kings of Europe. What do you think, Pras? Pras, you're muted. We can't
Yeah,
hear you.
Sorry, guys.
There we go.
When you own Saka and Gabriel and there's a corner, you're like, yeah, man, this is good. This is great for FPL. When it's against your own team, I was watching my son. I was like, this is such stupid shit, man. I mean, what is this? Like, they're just scoring from corners. Like, this is not real football. So it irritates the opposition fans a lot. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be like, tough shit, man. Like, this is how this is one of our routes to scoring. Why would we not utilize it? They also score open play goals. So fair play to them, actually.
yeah, I know. As opposition, you like after a point, you're just like, stop it,
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
end it. Yeah,
It's very interesting. It's quite tactical, and there was an article I read about it, how it's almost a bit NFL-like. They're sort of very much plays, and they're actually adapting to what the opposition are doing. It's not very set in stone. And Gabriel was sort of calling the shots. You noticed it in the West Ham game. He was directing traffic. You didn't have that this game. So in without Gabriel, there's such a threat. So that just shows the set piece coach. I forgot his name. Is it Jova or Hover? Whatever it is, doing a great job.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a new
kudos to them.
element. New element. Now, next thing they'll do is perfect their throw-ins. You remember Liverpool
Throw-in
got the
coach.
throw-in coach at some point, and that also improved. We'll see. We'll see. But it's an interesting dynamic, and it's nice to own the centre backs for a change for that reason. And Timber, I guess.
I mean, gains at that level amongst those teams, amongst those top teams, especially when a team like City hasn't given Liverpool or Arsenal an edge, are so minute that you take everything that you can in your favor. But what about your teams off? Are Chelsea in the title race?
No, no, no. We are very much a team building for the future.
Right.
We have you in the chat. I sense that slight celebration that happened when Kelleher decided to passively manage FPL and give the goal away. I'm not sure about how you feel about them not being in the title race.
So to Keller, there was a great gif that Baker posted of the dog when the ball goes in the air of Keller. He really should have stopped that cross. Quite funny, some of the results. And we have to talk about Bowen, man. I think what happened with Bowen, it sort of really summarizes what we've seen this season. 1.56 XGI and 0 returns. I've never seen that happen previously in other seasons. And we see that happen multiple times this year. Palmer yesterday, 5-6 returns, easy.
Yeah.
What? And that was the return he got, I guess, was probably the luckiest of the lot, you'd have to say.
I mean, that was not even his goal. I mean, Nkunku should have just put it away. But yeah, he should have got other assists and other. There were many, like Isak. We'll talk about him as well. Like, I felt there were so many times in the game, even though it was like a difficult game against Liverpool, like he could have assisted, he could have had a penalty. Like, there was a lot. And then you have on the other side of the coin, Mo Salah. He basically sneezes, assist. Sneezes again, goal. And basically, that's what he's been doing for 8 weeks or even 13 weeks.
You talk about how this feels news of. Actually, I'm a graduate from the David Nunes and the Timo Werner experience. So it's same old out here.
Fantastic. Cool, guys. Should we get started?
Sure, let's get into it.
Cool. Sponsor plug first.
As always, all the data that you see on this podcast is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. I keep saying the same thing. I think this is the best time to become a member. I think this is the best time to join our Discord as well. Just helps you with quick analysis of all the data that's there, and I think it's really, really important, useful to do so that you can make efficient, effective decisions with regards to your FPL team. So yeah, if you want to become a member, do click on the link in the description below.
And by the way, those who joined the Black Friday thing and are still our members, if you have questions, just reach out to us, especially the ones on Discord. Like, yeah, we're happy to help you navigate the members area if you need.
Absolutely. And as you guys know, NordVPN has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services. And if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/the FPL Wire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. TV show recommendations time, but I don't think any of us have been watching anything new since we last spoke. So
I'll tell you something about not TV show recommendations, but football this week, this midweek, right? Football is for only 2 times a year is on Amazon Prime in the UK. And for a change, it's like Christmas, man. It's party. Like basically all the games are live, and we are not used to this stuff, right? I mean, normally it's like 3 games are playing, and the shittiest game is on TV. Saturday 3 p.m. there's 6 games playing. Nothing is on TV. You're watching, Merson on Soccer Saturday talking about the game. That's our footballing experience. To go from that to yesterday watching the games, it was like a thrill. Like you're actually watching the goals as they're going in. And so that was something, it's not obviously a TV show recommendation, but that was really, really nice, actually. I don't know when we'll get there, but one day we will.
The trade-off.
That's so far
we
away.
were watching the game at 1:30 a.m. We were watching it at 8, so that's the trade-off.
That is the trade-off.
It's so far away from the experience that I think Zoph and I are used to sitting here in India, because all the games are on all the time. Like more often than not on a Saturday is like a triple screen experience for me. Like there's one game on the TV, one on the tablet, one on the phone, and it's just non-stop watching everything you can.
Yeah, as soon as the goal alert comes through, we can just click on that stream. All I have to do is press back, change the stream. Oh, saw the goal. Nice. Go back. Sorry, Pras.
Exactly.
And before we get comments, we understand why the blackout is there and why the games aren't there. But I just feel like Sunday, for example, if there's 4 games, like find a way to show the Sunday games. Like I understand 3 p.m. Saturday games, they want to have a blackout. I'm not against it. I understand it. But come on, the other games should be on TV, man.
That's why you have NordVPN, Pras.
Yeah, doesn't work. Well,
I do have a show recommendation though. One of my favorite shows from Apple TV is coming back on in January. And right now, for people that have already seen it, might be a good time to rewatch it. And for people that have not seen it, it's a good time to get on. Yes, watch Severance. It's one of my favorite shows from Apple TV. It's a slow burner, but it gets to a really, really, really exciting point, and I couldn't recommend it enough.
Fantastic. Nord also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/the FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Cool, guys. Let's get started. First up, let's talk schedule. I think what's more interesting is I think the schedule is far more condensed, I think, this round versus the last round, and we already saw a bit of havoc with the benchings last night. And what's interesting, I want to talk to you guys, a lot of the times we have these fears about these players, like they might be benched, but now this week in particular, they all have such good fixtures. Rodgers versus Southampton is a case in point. We might be talking about João Pedro also, supposedly. And we should mention that we are podding now prior to the games on Thursday. So like João Pedro plays 90 minutes today. If you look at Brighton's turnaround over here, it's one of the shortest, around 65 hours. Do we rest him? Now, it's not a difficult game he has. He has Leicester, a team that just conceded 30 shots to West Ham. So this is something I think we have to touch upon, guys, also. It's okay having the knowledge, but without information, but to turn it to knowledge, we have to actually implement that, right? So, Pras, why don't you walk us through it first up?
Why don't you put the beautiful chart that you made?
Yeah, that's actually very relevant for this week.
Let's just go to this one. Cool.
Yeah.
This is crafted by Zoph and cleaned up and perfected by Late Riser. So it's our original chart. So look, I mean, to answer your question, Zoph, we can't, some people got an auto sub of Rodgers for Jackson. So did they plan well or did they plan badly? Some people didn't get any auto sub or got Rico Lewis on for Gabriel missing out. You just can't plan for who is going to miss out, apart from certain picks that are 90 minutes or they play every game. So it's very difficult to say that. Like, let's assume João Pedro plays 90 minutes. Who would you bench between João Pedro and Rodgers? Because both are risks. So you just have to it's just increased variance. But your squad should be good enough to have a good 8th attacker. It should have a good 4th defender. If needed, then you could get lucky. So that's basically the first thing of what do? You just pick good players who play. That's what you can do.
I think there's just a little bit of additional information that might actually help you weigh up that decision with the Rodgers versus Pedro dilemma, because Pedro, after that game, has a week off, whereas Rodgers 2.5 days later has an away tie against Juventus, if I'm not
Leipzig.
mistaken. So
They already played Juventus.
Leipzig, yeah. City play Juventus, yes. So they got a very important midweek Champions League tie. So Rodgers could be important for that game. So I reckon the chances for rotation for Rodgers are slightly higher than Pedro, if I had to put
Or
it
even
as a
minutes
percentage.
management, like it could be a 60th minute sub, kind of.
Exactly.
I'm with you. And the other thing is, I think what this table highlights, I think that's the first thing we should say, is basically the difference in the rest between their midweek game and their actual game when they play each other. So in this case, basically Everton and Liverpool both played yesterday, so they will both play each other. So their difference in the rest periods is exactly the same. The highest cases of this is basically where Ipswich and Leicester, the two weak teams, have a very big advantage where they played almost 2 days before, in fact, over 2 days before Bournemouth and Brighton, who played today. So that's one of the gaps. And on the opposite end, you have Chelsea and Arsenal, who will play Spurs and Fulham respectively, who obviously played today. So they will have a day advantage compared to those guys. You obviously also have to interplay who are traveling, who are not traveling. Like, for example, in Aston Villa's case, they're at home. They were at home in midweek. They will be home on the weekend. In Arsenal's case, even though they have a home, actually Arsenal is in London the whole time.
London.
So those things play into it as well. We haven't gotten into sort of travel times and how far they were, but it's going to hit again. It's fun, chaotic, but also high variance time.
I just I actually used Zoph's table to write an article. So just some inferences that I could get from the table from particular just matchups. West Ham Wolves, I'll just go bottom to up. West Ham Wolves I won't care about because both the teams are getting 100+ hours of rest. So they're getting enough rest. There's no issue there. Spurs Chelsea is actually very important because if people want to take on Gandhi with the captaincy this week, for example, Spurs play an all-action Bournemouth team this evening, where I reckon there's going to be a lot of running, etc. involved. We're going to play a Chelsea team that's going to rotate 7 players that were out of the team are going to come back into the team. So it's going to be much fresher legs, and they have a day up on Spurs. So that's quite a significant difference in matchup in favor of Chelsea versus Spurs if you're looking at that. But Spurs are a Jekyll and Hyde team, and they're generally quite fit as well. So make of that what you may.
And they play well against tough teams.
I want to mention also, and this is something Baker keeps telling us, they struggled whenever they had a Thursday game. In the Europa League, the form has suffered on the weekend. So I think with Spurs, you have to keep that in mind. And they don't have the personnel ready to rotate.
Exactly. Unless and until, like Ange tells us tomorrow in the press conference that Romero and Van de Ven are back. And they've been around the fringes of the starting back. So maybe he's eyeing up this game to play them. So that's the only thing that will get Spurs back it from a matchup point of view. That's it.
Right.
I mean, all I would say on Spurs is just to caution, like we have that Spurs 4-4, that Chelsea 4-4 game in mind, or was it 4-4, something like that?
No, Chelsea
where they were playing
5-3 or 5-2 or something.
Whatever
like that.
they were, so we have that high line game in mind. I would just say this year, for all the things we've been calling Spurs, right? I think their defense is a little bit weird, where they do concede in the game, but they haven't been thrashed. Like it's very rare for them to, like Man City, they kept a clean sheet. Arsenal, they conceded 1 goal. Man United, they kept a clean sheet. So Aston Villa, they conceded just 1 goal. So it's a little bit of hard to predict. Like, can you see Chelsea scoring 3 goals? I'm not sure, but it could happen. We could see them score 4 goals. So that's where it becomes, I mean, we'll talk about captaincy a little bit, but it is a good fixture for Chelsea, but I'm not sure it is an easy fixture for Chelsea.
I'd agree. And I think I'd possibly look at backing Jackson in this fixture more so than Palmer. That's why my gut is, especially since he's got the rest and he's the one who's going to be getting behind that line. I think in this game, sort of Palmer might have to play that deeper playmaker role at times. So if you're going to go for a Chelsea pick, I like Jackson more than Palmer for this one.
Right. Just other names. Pedro, wouldn't be surprised to see some managed minutes here. Like Pras already discussed, because they got a 2-day lesser rest compared to Leicester City. We're going to be playing at home. Similar for Bournemouth. Bournemouth also have 2 days less compared to Ipswich. So I'm a little worried as an Evan Nielsen owner, where I wonder if somebody like an Unal gets a start or some managed minutes in this game. The only good thing is both Bournemouth and Brighton have a week off after the game. So, what are they resting for? They're important games. They need their wins. So that's the thing to factor into consideration. Fulham are playing against Arsenal, which I think is actually very fruitful for Arsenal, for people, again, wanting to go against Salah for captaincy. I don't think Saka is a bad shot because they have an extra day of rest compared to Fulham. Fulham have Anderson out injured still. So I think that's a pretty important factor as well. And teams like Fulham, we saw it with Brighton last year. When they don't have a deep squad, they struggle with midweek football compared to teams like Arsenal that have been there and done that. So keep that as a factor. I actually think the matchup suits Arsenal. I think the extra day will help them out compared to Fulham's thinner squad. And City are in trouble, in my opinion. We saw yesterday post-match, it looks like Ake could be out again for a while. And I'm not sure about Akanji's fitness, halftime sub, and they've got a day's rest less compared to Palace, and they've got an important away tie against Juventus 2 or 3 days later as well. So and Palace have been stable with a settled back five, so City will have it tough as well against Palace. So these are the names I just wanted to mention.
So just something I wanted to touch upon with regard to the Ipswich, Bournemouth and Leicester Brighton fixtures. Now I know you mentioned they have a free week off, right? But I think both these managers are very conscious that the opposition has 2 days more rest than them. So when you know that physically you're at a disadvantage, that might tend to give you a tendency to bring on players or start players who are more fresh. Because you're aware that the opposition have more stamina. And they do have the players, your Bournemouth might rotate their wingers, etc., etc. I think Evan Nilsson maybe not so much more minutes management, but there is a possibility. Do you think you have to watch out for those two teams in particular the next weekend?
Yep. Pedro isn't safe from minutes management / rotation, in my opinion.
Right. What else?
What did you make of Chelsea, Zoph? They basically they continued their trend of mass rotation, even if it was not a Europe. Even the keeper was not spared, man. Is this going to happen again when there's a next midweek, when there's the Christmas period?
I think so, because I think he's doing similar to what Amorim did. And you remember at the start of the season, there was this whole talk of Chelsea have so many players, how he's going to keep them happy. I think it was very much more player and man management rather than fatigue management. I think a lot of those players could have easily played midweek as well. But it's more about keeping guys who are potentially stars like Felix and Kunku, etc. happy. Somebody like Madueke, he mentioned, who had not been starting games recently because he's not happy with the way he's training, things like that. So you have to keep these guys involved and on side with the squad. So I like what he did. And ultimately, the numbers didn't slip up. Everybody stepped up when they needed to. So there's no reason not to do it in the future. I haven't looked at the fixtures, but as far as I know, the fixtures are pretty easy. I think the midweek game is Fulham at home.
But then if that's the one players miss, then they basically have 4 away games in the next 5. So, right. I mean, that's where it becomes a little trickier. But then Brentford at home, Spurs away, they're all good. Even away fixtures are good. So not to worry. But I just feel, losing Fulham at home and Southampton away is not ideal. Even for Sanchez owners, it's not, even though they conceded.
Agree. What's next on the agenda, guys? We'll look back at the results, or should we talk straight captaincy this week?
No. I think one important point of note is a lot of people are in the market for a defender purchase and a striker purchase, and they're sort of interlinked. So I just wanted to have that conversation together. If you could put the fixture ticker up here, because a lot of people are looking at buying one of Watkins, Isak or Jackson at the moment, and that's directly linked to whether they're able to afford somebody like a Trent or not. So if they go for a Trent, then they can probably, in some cases, they have to go lower to a Cunha price striker or a Stan Larsen or an Evan Nielsen price striker. But if they go for, let's say somebody like a Timber or a lower price defender, then they can afford the Watkins, Isaks and Jacksons of the world. So where are you guys? Because I didn't want to talk about it as Trent in isolation as a pick, because Trent is fabulous as a pick. We know that. But I think the two are sort of interlinked as well.
1.3 million is a lot. Most people, I think, to get to Trent, they're going to have to downgrade Mbeumo, and you can find good downgrades at, let's say, 1.3, around that price. So it is interesting in that price. Plus, where are you at?
I mean, I don't want to compare those two because I would like both. People should be having triple Arsenal and a Liverpool defender. So I would much rather compare Trent with a Van Dijk or a Gomez and have a Liverpool conversation first on what it means in terms of Trent being benched, but Van Dijk continues to play, what it means in terms of Gomez being absolutely rubbish yesterday and Konza getting not substituted with Gomez first. But then there is a trade-off. Like not everybody has those players now. But if you were wildcarding, you would have both Timber and Trent, or at least double Arsenal defense in some form and Trent. That's where I am, at least in terms of going there. But if you had to prioritize now, I think there is equal potential. Like Arsenal is now 2 clean sheets in 3 games. They look back to what they were. Not that they went away anywhere. Their fixtures have just improved. So I think Arsenal's second defender is equal priority to Trent. I mean, I don't want to say one is higher potential. Of course, Trent has potential, but then he has also not as easy games, especially in the next 2 or 3. I think they have Spurs coming up. So go for Timber first, but eventually I would say plan to get there. Plan to get there, have a path.
But what my question is, Pras, don't you think the absence of Konate makes him a bit worse? I know Alisson is going to be back soon, so I'm not using that as a factor. But aren't they objectively a worse defense with Konate injured? And he's out now for the entire festive period. We're expecting 21-22.
It is. So answer is yes. But what I'm saying is the level of the defense is still good enough with the fixtures that they have. Yesterday, they didn't have Gabriel, right? They played Kivior. So let's say we're sitting game week before saying, should we get Timber because Gabriel is out, Kivior will play against Man United? Well, you should have. So what I'm saying is a good defense will still be a good defense. Yes, they will lose some underlying, but doesn't make it any worse in terms of a player. I would not avoid Trent because of that. But
I got your point. We're trying to split differences. I'm just trying to find a competitive advantage for one over the other. And right now, I trust the Arsenal defense a lot more than I do the Liverpool one.
Especially, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm with Pras on this one, where I don't think that other centre back position matters that much because of how Liverpool play. It's not like Klopp Liverpool where they left the defenders one-on-one against opposition, right? They sort of play in a controlled, compromising, conservative sort of way. And one thing about Trent, right? You always notice when there's a shift in gear. It felt like the first 10, 12 weeks of the season, he was playing a little within himself. I feel like, we spoke about it on the last pod. What's changed? Like, it feels like he's doing a lot more. And then we were talking about how it could just be a tactical thing against City. But again, he was really good in the 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes maybe he's over that little niggle or something that he has. I think he's on the precipice of the shift and turn. So I think he's the much better pick compared to Timber just because of sheer quality of what Trent Alexander-Arnold is. That said, I think if you weigh in a Jackson or an Isak versus, let's say, a Strand Larsen or Evan Nielsen, for example, I think Isak, the gap between Isak and that level striker is bigger than Trent and a Timber. Because I feel like both the defenses are at a similar level. Timber does have some attacking threat as well. Not even just set pieces, even in open play, he's quite forward.
He
doesn't have the quality.
What I like about Timber is he has a similar thing with Ben White, right? He has a goal threat from your set pieces. He has that assist potential in open play as well. Because even yesterday, I think the way Arsenal are going at corners, every set piece, you look at that, and the thing is eventually teams are starting to crowd out Gabriel. So they're naturally looking at these other guys, and Timber is pretty much the second target now.
Yep.
Okay, it's good. It's good. Yeah, sorry, I'll go on.
Only thing is like game week 19 onwards, right? Like there's a 4-week period that Arsenal have where the fixtures aren't beautifully good for clean sheets.
The Brentford, Brighton. Read out the other ones for me, please.
Brentford, Brighton, both are away. Then Spurs at home, then Villa at home, then Wolves away, then City at home. So they're not like banker clean sheet games. I feel like Liverpool have more clean sheet friendly games for a longer duration. So for a longer duration, Trent is a longer set and forget option. Right? Also, White could be back in Jan. So it isn't as long term a transfer as Trent is probably. But speaking about long term, I was just looking at Newcastle on the fixture ticker. And I was like looking at the 5-week view. Then I kept doing +1, +1, +1, +1 on the season ticker. Like Isak's a set and forget until game week 24. It's ridiculous how long a duration Newcastle have for just a good run of fixtures. I'm just going to read this out. From game week 15 to 24, we're looking at the next 10 game weeks. Brentford away, Leicester home, Ipswich away, Villa home, United away, Spurs away, Wolves home, Bournemouth home, Southampton away, Fulham home. That's just a great leeway of long duration. That's immediately made me think, what a lot of people are looking at Mbeumo replacements. Why not Gordon Boy? Genuinely, I think Newcastle have a great, like if I'm buying right now and just because of how delicious he looked against Liverpool, now because Southampton away is out of the way for Jackson, Isak's got that great rope with a lovely entry point because Brentford, Leicester, Ipswich is just a great 3 fixtures for the run of fixtures for any attacker.
I'm with you.
Absolutely.
Look, Go on, sorry, Zoph.
No, I just wanted to introduce our listeners to the guys who are on audio to just this excellent chart by FPL Radar. On the x-axis, we have opponent accumulated XGC, and the teams that you see on the extreme are Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Wolves in terms of the best attacking fixtures. In terms of the best defensive fixtures, on the y-axis, you have total clean sheet probability. This is game week 15 to 19. Arsenal are on top, followed by Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea. Go on, Pras.
No, I just wanted to add a couple of things. First to the defender conversation, then to the Newcastle conversation. So on the defender conversation, I think, look, if I was to start all over again, Timber would be my second defender. Like I would switch Raya to Timber for that attacking upside. Like Raya has gone back to 2-6, right? This is what we expected. Once the fixtures improve, he'll go to 2-6, 2-7, something like that. So there is upside with Timber. And if you can get like Gabriel, Timber, and Trent, like that's the dreamland. Like that's the defense right now that you want to get towards. So I do want to repeat that Timber plus an Isak or a Watkins, we'll talk about Watkins as well, or a Jackson makes better sense than a Trent and a cheap guy. Like, cheap guys are getting, now we are seeing like Visa, Cunha, they're not gods. They are human after all. So I do agree with that point. I did want to say one negative thing about Timber is that we have now seen a couple of games in a row in which Partey has played right back, where Mourinho and Rice play in the middle. So increasingly Partey is being tried at right back. When Calafiori also comes back, then that's one extra player. Now I think Timber is easily first choice, right? And you can probably use the same argument for Trent. He's coming back from injury. He just missed a game. So I would just say that none of them are nailed. Like maybe Trent is slightly more. And if you wanted nailed, then even Saliba is fine. Like I think it's okay if you had a little more money and you wanted to go for Saliba. Obviously he pulled a goal out of his ass yesterday, but he may otherwise also score. So that's the one thing about Arsenal.
Yep.
Anything else on defense, or should I make a point about Gordon also that you mentioned a lot?
Go for it.
So on Gordon, basically the problem I have with is he's become the flexible guy. The guy who sometimes plays on the left where he's incredible. Like yesterday he spent time on the left, you saw what happened. Like he had one-on-one chance, then he obviously scored the goal. Amazing. But there are other games where they decide, okay, you play off the right. And he is not the same playing off the right. And him playing off the right can happen in three different ways. Either Barnes starts. Now, let's say Barnes doesn't start. He's not starting these days. Joe Linton starts. And eventually, if Wilson starts, then Isak will play off the left, not Gordon. So that's the only difficulty I have with a Gordon. But the plus side of Gordon is he's taking a lot more set pieces than last year. So last year's Gordon used to be not an analytics darling. He used to be a eye test guy who used to just dribble and score. This year, he has route to points, which is nice during this period. And he has minutes. So just a couple of points.
Anything else? I wanted to ask you guys 3 questions now about the defense. Now, number one, again, I want just clear answers, no sitting on the fence on this. If you could bring in either Timber or Trent for one free transfer this week, who would you prioritize? LR?
Trent.
Pras?
Trent.
Strangely enough, I'm thinking Timber. Because the thing is...
Because you're looking at future moves. Your question was this week only.
No. Ultimately, no. I think even for pure clean sheet potential, I just trust Arsenal more. Maybe I'm not aligned with just the way they're playing right now. Arsenal are purring. The first choice players are back.
LR posted on X, his team, that this is what I'm going with. I'm keeping my 3 premiums. I'm going triple Arsenal defense. I commented on this. Best defense in the league, tripling up. Makes sense, man. I mean, this is a good team. How many comments did I get? How can you say Arsenal is the best defense in the league? Because they had not done clean sheets, Underlying data nobody cares about. Now they have done clean sheets. Now they're the best defense. This is not on you. I'm just saying general perception. Liverpool will get a clean sheet next week, and Liverpool will become the best. I just think both are great defenses this year, and both have great fixtures. It's a bit like comparing Palmer, Saka's. I mean, Salah is in a different league, but whoever does goals becomes the better pick for that week. Like I think both are great.
Yeah, my answer is if the compromises like Pras and I discussed, Isak versus cheaper striker, then the answer is Timber. If not, Trent is the answer in terms of priority. Very clear answer. And I think Pras is on the same page with this.
Yep.
With Trent, the only caveat I have is now he played 6, like he came off the bench yesterday. Now we probably will get some sort of early team news on Saturday if he starts or not, but I'm slightly worried about the possibility of an early sub over there, something like 57, 58, because again, I don't expect him to play 90 minutes on the weekend. Some minutes management worries me in the short term. After that, of course, Trent is completely nailed, much more nailed on than Timber. It's only this short term I'm a little bit worried about because they can in fact even afford to rest him in the Champions League. All the teams we talk about, Liverpool are the most comfortable. Like Salah, he's
Exactly.
probably getting rested in the Champions League. He's not getting rested versus Everton.
Exactly. I'll tell you what my main reasoning with Trent is, right? The penny has dropped. Like he's hit fifth gear. When you watch Trent now, there's a certain time when you hit, and that was during the performance against City. He just shifted in gears, and I reckon it might continue.
Fair shout. Again, but when
And
he
the other
came
thing
on,
is, I mean, sorry, just to add, the other thing was we are comparing yesterday's performance where Trent didn't start. It was Kwanzaa and Gomez. And Gomez was bad, in fact, so bad that he came off before and Kwanzaa stayed on and he shifted to centre back. So my point is, yes, they looked shaky yesterday, but that was because there were two players that don't normally play. If you have one guy who's Gomez or Kwanzaa who plays next to Van Dijk, you have Robertson, you have Trent, you have Alisson who's coming back. Remember when we were saying we were selling Trent, or Alisson will have some impact? Well, he should also have a positive impact now that he's coming back. So I just feel there's enough positives, and maybe we're extrapolating too much into how bad they were against Newcastle. Newcastle away is hard, man. Like, especially if you're playing Kwanzaa and Gomez in your backline, 2 out of the 4.
yeah, we discussed Newcastle under lights against the big teams, especially, is one of the toughest places to go in the league. Now, the second question I have, Pras and LR will be back with us in a second. Now, supposedly this week, if you had to make either defender move, it would require a Mbeumo downgrade. Is this the week to do it when Mbeumo has Newcastle at home?
No, ideally not. And I will still have to do it because you have to do it to get someone else, right? Like, I'm sick of my defense. My third defender is the clear weak area. And I think a lot of people are on this in this boat.
That's going to be my third question. We'll get to that. Which one of it do you prioritize getting rid of? But go on.
Exactly. So, I mean, my point is a lot of Wildcard 6 drafts had Mikolenko, Pinnock, Rico Lewis, and they're just stinking up the place now. So basically, a lot of people are looking at defensive transfers. So if you need money, like I could have done Isak down to Welbeck, which I was talking about if he was injured, or the only other place to get money now, money is becoming tight again, is to basically downgrade Mbeumo. It's not an ideal week to sell Mbeumo. His home form is amazing. His own form is not, but Brentford's home form is good. So it's a little bit of a concern, but I think if you look at it from the context of next 5 fixtures for Mbeumo, I think it's still understandable. So I do get people, and we said the same thing for people selling last week, that if you're looking side by side, nothing using the Mbeumo spot, just selling him for no reason, we still don't think you should do that. But if you're looking to upgrade him to Salah, Palmer, Saka, or to downgrade him to afford a premium striker or a premium defender, then yeah, worth it.
LR, are you in the same
Let's
boat?
talk cheap defenders while
we
we're
will,
just...
but just a question I asked Pras over here now. To get either like an Arsenal defender or a Trent, are you okay with downgrading Mbeumo this week? Because a lot of people have carried a free transfer over the midweek fixture. They have 2 free transfers. Would you downgrade a Mbeumo, let's say, to a Semenyo to raise that money?
Yes, and we'll discuss options that are there, but I wouldn't mind it.
You like it? I would like to give it just another week. And just for some information, we spoke to our Brentford fan, who we regard quite highly. He mentioned the main reason for Mbeumo's underperformance has been Vandenberg rather than any of the other forwards, because being a centre back, he's not really overlapping on that side, which isn't allowing Mbeumo to go inside. And we saw similar with Saka. While he had no support on the right side, he had Partey, right? It makes a big difference. We don't have the overlapping fullback. So, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
Good point.
Right.
I mean, he could still shithouse 2 penalties, but
he could shit out. That's the thing. And he could randomly play Chuck in Roslev also now with a short turnaround, but I don't think that will necessarily happen. It's not a case you can bank on now. Long term.
Yeah, and I think at some point, right, you just have to react to 5 performances into under 0.1 xg. Like, all right, his pedigree is there, etc. But like, if you're in a luxury position where you don't have other fires in your team, it's all right to make an aggressive move then.
And also what lies ahead, no? Like, if they had good fixtures and we were reacting to last 5 games and saying, okay, I will look for another shiny toy, makes sense. But he has got Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool as 6 of the next 8. That's not nice.
Yeah, the second on the x-axis over here, you see, in terms of opponent accumulated XGC. So your point is absolutely bang on. The fixtures are poor now.
Exactly.
So getting to the third point now, let's say you have a defense of something like a Nouri, Mikolenko, and a Lewis, which is most of us. Okay, just ignore Greaves, your 5th defender who's 4.0. That guy you can pretty much confine now. Who do you sort of look to get rid first? My contribution would probably be Mikolenko, primarily because you see him at the bottom over here in the y-axis. Now, Everton's Sean Dyche could randomly get a clean sheet, but I think the time for Mikolenko is up. That being said, now let's say Nouri gets booked against West Ham and he misses Ipswich. You're never going to want to play Nouri again. Pras, where are you on this?
I mean, you just can't sell 8 Nouri before Leicester and Ipswich, no? I mean, this is the problem. This is the starting point.
The money might make a difference, right? That's the thing, because today Mykolenko is 0.3, Nouri for some people is 4.8, 4.9.
I mean, if it's a money thing, then I guess no question, right? I mean, they're not such big defenders that you have to keep them. I think none of them are. So if it solves a move for you, then sell whoever you want. Like sell Rico Lewis. Like we keep talking about early kickoffs for City coming up, but they could be bad again. Like last night they kept a clean sheet, but Wood missed a clear one-on-one. They had other chances.
But you know why they kept a clean sheet, right?
Because De Bruyne came back.
Because the stench that had been sticking up that place, we spoke about it in the last point, was out of the team. Immediate clean sheet. Just had to happen.
Nah, it's because Haaland played the Kane role, prime Kane role in the center of the park.
Haaland was
No,
DM.
he wasn't. He wasn't DM. I'll speak about the game. I saw the game. Actually had that game on. But yeah.
No, so that's the answer, Zoph. Like Mykolenko, rubbish. Okay, with all respect to his clean sheets recently, but going forward, rubbish. Pinnock, rubbish. 8 Nouri, rubbish. Rico Lewis, rubbish. Greaves, rubbish. Leaf Davis, rubbish. Sell any one of them if you can afford your player. But the priority would be sell the player that has shit fixtures going forward, which is Mykolenko, Pinnock.
And if the price difference allows you, let's say, a Timber over somebody else, then prioritize the player you're getting in, not the player you're selling. Because like Pras said, they're all rubbish. Except Mykolenko, though. I just want to shout out about Mykolenko. Like I love the guy because every time I have intended to play him and he's come up with a minimum 6-pointer. He's just as reliable fish and chips version of a defender as it comes. Daishes in the Daish games. Like shout out to Zoph and especially our friend from the Circle chat, Mr. Hibbo, who ran ahead of Mykolenko, and I was like, no, Daish games, Daishes. You can't bench a Mykolenko who
just lost 4-0, man. That's the problem. Like it's now it sounds right, but they had just lost 4-0 as well before this.
Yeah, but that's just typical Daesh. He bends over backwards against higher opposition, but at home, to anybody 10th or below, he cleans. That's just how it has been working for the last 8-9 years. Never mind this year.
I mean, they now don't play an under 10 team for a while.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Now sell him. I just wanted to give some credit and speak
LR's
about
annoyed
the
about the auto sub jam.
Oh, I'm so annoyed.
Me as well, man.
People got the decision wrong. I won't lie about it. I think people got the decision wrong, especially because I saw that Bournemouth Wolves game. Like Wolves were wider than. Never mind. But I was just like, no, man. It was just a wrong decision in my head. But congratulations on Jam. I'm allowed. I think we're allowed to be a little human on this podcast.
Of course. I went to every bastard who was getting Rogers or Mykolenko off their bench.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And the assist was so jammy also. He just pretty much smashed it into the box, came off the defender twice, and then just fell to Mangala.
The assist was jammy. I'll give it that. The assist was as jammy as it comes. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that's off my chest. I needed to do that. I felt therapeutic.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm grateful. That's the biggest jam I've had all season.
Yeah, man. And we all have and deserve our own version of Jan. Question though, like if you're not having enough money for Timber and you have to spend 5 million or below, who's your number one choice?
That's interesting because Chelsea, I think we were talking about, I think Colville, I think you guys convinced me a bit more and we are looking a bit better defensively. I think Colville would probably be the one I look at. And again, that ties up with what we are seeing over here in terms of defensive difficulty.
Yeah, so if you want to look at defensive difficulty, basically come down on the y-axis. So Arsenal best defensive fixtures over the next 5, then Liverpool, then Man City, then is Chelsea. Then Newcastle and Brighton are basically similar. So yeah, Lewis Hall's still okay. Brighton defender is still okay, but I would still say Chelsea defender, or LR is ready to say Man United. So go on, LR.
No. Chelsea defender, I actually really like Hall. Again, because of when you're buying such a cheap defender, right? You want to hold him on for 10, 12 weeks. And we spoke about the Newcastle fixtures from a long-term point of view, where you don't want to, once you get a player in that position, you don't want to move him on for a long time. So he covers you for a really long time, which is why I think I like Hall.
But I don't want Colville to miss Fulham home, man. Like the whole discussion we had on Chelsea. Like if he's playing 4 away games in the next 5, when will I play him? So now like he spooked everyone, Maresca.
At 4.5, he's all right, Pras.
When it's a 4.5, when Rico is benched, Gabriel is missing, Colville is missing. Like people had that whole backline basically.
Yeah. Pras likes to buy the 4.5 guys for the security of minutes.
The Konsa.
I
He
want
does it,
minutes
the Konsa.
and bullet
Yeah.
headers. So
Yeah.
Dunk, Konza, Mings is back. My favorite. Before Konza, Mings used to be my favorite. So even he's back.
Yeah.
But Villa not that great defensively. So I would rather say Van Hijk or Dunk is the
Hall.
safe. Or
He's
Hall.
got enough upside, and he's on set pieces also. I think it's quite an underrated aspect about Hall. I think the points are coming there. He's
But
impressed
look
me
at
every time.
Newcastle's fixtures, LR. I looked at it very strongly. They're good attacking fixtures, not good
Not great
defensive
defensive
fixtures.
ones.
Yeah, but like 16, 17, you're getting Leicester home, Ipswich away. That's decent. And then you're getting 21, 22, 23, 24, which are all decent. So yes, there's 3 or 4 fixtures in the middle that are a problem, but you're getting 6, 7 very strong fixtures as well.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Ipswich away, they'll concede. Leicester home, okay, maybe, but Van Nistelrooy has now got them playing like prime Barcelona.
But your boy Botman will be back in 3 or 4 weeks, and then you'll be happier about that.
It's true. But then
I
will he
hope
play?
so.
Burn will play left back.
Then Hall, I think that's position is I'm not too worried about it. Like Hall cemented that position because it's not like they have Trippier on the other side where they need to play Burn, right? Things have changed in terms of team dynamic as well. So I wouldn't worry about it. Hall's been one of their best players, genuinely. I think that's Potter says.
Yeah. Hall's a good pick, but I'm telling you, Dan Burn has Eddie Howe nudes. He's not leaving that way.
Yeah. On United also, I think in 2 or 3 weeks our defense is up there, price to buy, because the problem is rotation. But like somebody like a Delete or somebody is on the higher end of expensive spectrum, I think you can buy Lisandro Martinez. The 5 yellows are done. Like if you're looking for a cheap 4.5 million defender, Martinez. We've got all our defenders fit now. Euro's fit, Delete is fit, Maz is fit, Martinez is fit, Maguire is fit, Malacia is even fit. So except for Shaw, our entire defensive ecosystem is fit. So I think that's good for future clean sheet prospects. And I think we look a lot tighter than we were under Ten Hag.
Cool. What else, guys? Let's start with the captaincy.
Yes, I think it's a great week for captaincy discussion. And then we'll go to, do you want to do Mbeumo replacements before captaincy? Because I think that's
Sure. Let's do Boomer replacements first.
important point for people that want to sell. I still think West Ham are good. They impress me. And I thought Bowen owners, people that zagged, were very unlucky. So you want to play the fixtures, West Ham, Kudus or Bowen. If you want to play the Brighton fixtures, then Mitoma is sitting right there. But I just got a feeling and really like the long-term view of Gordon. Like it's in my head, and I think it's a great entry point with the next 3. Like
What's
I think
his
you're
price?
getting
7 odd, no?
7.2. You're getting Brentford, Leicester, and Ipswich. Like I really like those 3 fixtures. Like just from an attacking point of view, there's points for the taking on the table right now. So even if you don't want to hold him for a long-term view, it's a very great 3-week punt also, and then you decide where else you want to go. So that's why I'm quite attracted to the Gordon pick right now.
Yeah, strong.
It doesn't free up much money. That's the only thing. If you're going down for Boomer, ideally you want to free up some cash, right?
That's in your position. I don't need to free
For
up
most
money. I'm
people, like
fine.
you don't, but like I said,
yeah.
if people, we just spoke the previous section, if you want to get a Trent or a Timber, you need to free up cash from somewhere. So I think I like Mitoma a lot. I was looking at his numbers. He's on second for shots on target in that team. Top for big chances created. But the
What's
only
your issue
worries-
with Madueke, man?
What's
your issue with Madueke?
Madueke is just so frustrating. He's like Sterling on steroids. Pretty
But
much the same
gets
thing.
points.
I don't trust him at all. He's just too frustrating to watch. Madueke is again good for Madueke.
The one thing that somebody replied, after you replied, a Chelsea fan replied, the thing is that he's got Sancho and Neto and Felix all on his ass at the moment, right? So if at all he drops in a poor performance or two, that rotation or that he loses his spot immediately. So the competition is very strong. So even though, like I was surprised Pras by his minutes, 12 out of the last 13 games he started. So that's
He's in the
pretty
A
much
team.
He's in the A team. So that's pretty much as strong as it gets. But the thing is, he can move to the B team any moment.
But me, he's already moved to the B team. Because see what happened this week. He missed Aston Villa. So he's moved out, and actually Maresca said this, that I moved him out of Aston Villa because he's being a little bit of a cocky guy. Basically he said it because he was like, when he scores, he starts play acting, and in the training he's not focused. When your manager is saying all of that, basically he's saying that you have already been demoted. And he has played in this midweek fixture because this was the rotation fixture. I don't expect him to start Spurs. So I'm not touching him.
Good shout. Good shout.
And if you remember season 1 LR, I discussed my criteria of evaluating bandwagons. There's 2 things. Number one, I look at if a player hadn't hauled this week, would I still be looking at him? And number two, if he has a stinker the next game, is he still going to start? And I think Madueke doesn't fulfill either of those conditions for me.
Fair shot. So then and just while we're discussing all of this, are we against Brendan Johnson as a pick? Because if minutes were not a concern, again, repeating what I said the last part, he's comfortably the standout pick in terms of plays for one of the most attacking teams in the league. Maybe misses 1 in 5 games. Is that, and when he comes on, he scores anyway. Hawks or gets a substantial amount of expected data in that Spurs team. Is he sort of just like a set and forget, because fixtures don't even matter because they're like Leeds United on steroids, right? They're attacking no matter what the opposition is. So why not Brendan Johnson?
If you can stomach the odd benching, I don't mind it, because there are going to be certain games where Kulu plays on the right side.
Yeah, the Madison performance has shifted the dynamic.
But
right?
then again, it's like 1 out of 4, probably.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Pras, your thoughts there?
I'm not. Christmas period is not the period like to mess around like with these picks. Like you have a Johnson guy who's missing out, you get another injury, you can't deal with Johnson, you go there, your squad gets not my playstyle. Like I can never go for this. Is Madueke is like obviously too far, but even a Johnson, I need whoever's coming in, I need to see him on the team sheet like every week. And when they are not on the team sheet, it needs to be a surprise. Like Colville not starting was a surprise. So that would be my criteria, and it would be no surprise if Johnson misses a particular game. But he's good.
Then
I'm not saying he's not good.
For you, the pick is waiting right there. You can even jump this week because the defense isn't easy. Like Eze is there if you want to move, and I think the timing to do it is in game week 18 or 19. We discussed him last week.
So Eze is my best Mbeumo replacement, but in game week 19. There's a stopgap. There are some stopgap replacements for 4 or 5 weeks. Gordon fits that category. Semenyo fits that category, at least for me, because they have got good 3, 4, 5 fixtures. And then game week 19, you switch to Eze. I think if you wanted to go for who else has like short-term good fixtures, we talked about Brighton. So Brighton has good fixtures. So Mitoma fits that category. But the problem with Mitoma and maybe even a Kudus is it doesn't free up enough. Like we need to free up. If people are looking for a trend, in my case I am, then you need enough money to go down to almost like cheap. You need to go ESR level, Rogers level, Semenyo level. And I think those guys are also good, or Ahmad level even.
I think if Mitoma is benched today because he's a bit of a doubt, I think due to a knock, I really like him as a pickup for the next one, because you have Leicester and then you have their derby against Palace next.
Who? Mitoma?
Mitoma. If he's potentially benched today, I think I'll be buying him for the Leicester game.
I just don't know. Like, Mitoma has scored fewer points than Damsgaard. He has the same as Smith Rowe. Kluivert is obviously an anomaly. Rogers has the same points as Mitoma. Like, I'm feeling, okay, is he worth $1.5 million more than Rogers, or $1 million more than Rogers? Like, $1 million is a lot for that spot. I don't know. I mean, he's a good upside pick, but I'm struggling. Like, now Semenyo has had his rest. So when I'm thinking about the Bournemouth attack versus Brighton attack, I don't see any difference. Like, they're both good attacking teams. When I look at their fixtures, I don't see much difference, at least in the short term. So...
Plus, we have to pause. Your audience demands that you adjust your camera, please.
What happened to my camera?
Your face apparently is half cut. They all want to see more of you.
Please,
check the highlighted
I can
comment.
see myself. No, I'm not going to. Okay. So basically, I'm not seeing the difference. Like somebody like a Semenyo, who's already a 90 minutes man, who's been forced to rest midweek. Like, I think he plays 90 minutes every game now during Christmas. Like, he's as good as Mitoma.
I'd agree with that. I already own Semenyo, that potentially. That's why I'm not as high on him as maybe you guys are. But obviously, you won't buy Rogers now if you didn't own him. Rogers doesn't seem like the pickup for this period. There are a lot of questions in the chat about Enzo Fernandez at 4.9. Now, he's picked up a lot of returns over the last 6 game weeks. I think he's got something like 3 goals, 2 assists, or something spun around like that. But it is, I think, a role that he is going to be carrying forward in the future. But I just worry that an option could emerge from Chelsea otherwise. Enzo just doesn't fill me with confidence as a pick. There's no fixture you're going to be comfortable playing Enzo. Let's say for one of your guys gets suspended, injured. That doesn't fill me with confidence.
Pick him up in draft and leave it.
Exactly. So that sort of player. I think let's
so where are we? We're defense. Yeah.
Let's just do different brackets. I think let's do a 5 to 6 million bracket. Semenyo probably stand out there.
Semenyo. And then ESR or Eze. I mean, Eze, I guess, is a more expensive bracket also.
He's in the 6 to 7 bracket.
Like I can actually get Kudus as well, but I don't know. LR, you tell me, man. Like
Don't trust
Somerville is
Kudus,
playing
man.
really well.
Yeah.
No.
And then change of manager. Where does he play? Like then again, I'm thinking Semenyo is equally good. Like why should I have spent 0.5 more?
So I don't really rate Semenyo as a pick. Like he falls into a little bit of a not all fart more poo, but more fart less poo sort of picks. Like I've watched Bournemouth quite often because of owning Evan Nilsson, and he just takes a lot of poppy like low percentage shots from outside the box. Like that's the problem with Semenyo. Like he doesn't get the big chances or enough big chances. He does when they start to play from the left, and then his job is to be at the back post on the right. I'm like, actually, if you see more, right? I was actually looking at the minutes because there's a pick that's not been spoken about much, who's been starting now for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, played 89 or 90 minutes in all the games, plays in the front three for a team that you mentioned, Pras, that have good fixtures in 3 weeks, and that's Ismail Assar. 5.7 million. He's not that expensive. Like, I feel like that's a front three of a team that are about to pour. Like, I feel like it's a more upward trajectory sort of pick. I don't mind something like that. Like I would want to take on a Semenyo, something like that. Semenyo will still get points, but I just feel like there could be better picks that emerge. Semenyo feels like, yeah, it's an easy, safe pick. There are very low chances of something like that going wrong. But I feel like if you're an ambitious FPL manager, you can take it on. I just don't feel convinced about it.
I'm boring FPL manager, not ambitious.
Yeah.
Ella just hates Semenyo, man, because he doesn't pass to Evan Nilsson.
Oh, I hate him because he's terrible for Evan Nilsson. I'm not very optimistic about the points tonight because Semenyo is going to start. That's the problem.
People are asking about Kluivert. Just wouldn't go there. He doesn't fit the bandwagon criteria I just mentioned earlier.
Just spends. So unless you're desperate, so he's like 5.2 or something.
5.3, but even then, you'd go for like a Buonanotte, you'd go for your Ahmad or even an Enzo, I think, in that sense.
I find it difficult. Like minutes is an issue as well. Like I doubt he starts both today and on Sunday. So it is a little bit of an issue. But look at that price point. Like if you get 2 pens over the Christmas period, why not? Like it's difficult to like Ahmad also is not going to start every game. You saw against Arsenal, he didn't start. I think over time he will become the first choice wing back easily. But then he's also thrown in a statement earlier that Dalo should be great at right wing back as well. So it's just such an influx team that I don't see how you can confidently go on Ahmad. But you can do that as much as Kluivert, right? I mean, again, Ahmad does not need to play every game. He's very threatening when he starts.
Cool. Next bracket.
The entry point right now just suits Semenyo. There's nobody else that suits this entry point this week. Like 2 or 3 weeks later, we're going to talk about Fulham mids, and somebody like Assar might become more popular in this price bracket. But sitting here today, Semenyo sits the.
Yep. You see him, he's all the way on the far right for the good attacking fixtures up there with your Newcastle and Wolves.
Exactly.
I don't think that I want to mention, I don't think that Ipswich fixture is as good as it appears on paper. I watched that Palace game versus Ipswich, and I don't know why I did. That Ipswich are a lot better. They weren't conceding as many big chances as they were earlier in the season. They've tightened up.
Selfish question. How about the Palace defense?
Very good. Very, very good. I think they restricted Newcastle and they restricted Ipswich also to nothing. Palace are back. He mentioned also post-game that these back three, they finally gelled. They started playing together now. They're much tighter than they were earlier.
Even McKenna mentioned it. McKenna praised the Palace back five as well. He was like, that was a very strong back five as well. Our boy Munoz points, he's been clocking 4.5 XGI non-stop. 4.7 million. Yeah, man.
Very much.
He's a pick in 3 weeks. When you guys are selling Rico, like it's a great Zach to move to Munoz then.
No, this guy 8 Nuri. Basically, Cunha 8 Nuri to Mateta Munoz works beautifully.
Yeah, Mateta is also they're back. They're hitting their first team. We're seeing semblances of the Palace from last year now.
Cool. Next bracket, 6 to 7 million. One pick.
Who's there in this price bracket?
Mitoma.
By the way, Kulusevski, we have not talked about him. 6.2. Any love? He got his rest.
I prefer BJ, just because, he's
control.
no, just because he gets the big chances in that team. That's all. Like he might not do much that's visible. He's the exact opposite of Semenyo. Like he's not very lively, but he's at the end of these big chances that Spurs create. That's the thing I like about Brennan Johnson. I'm going to take his full name now.
Yeah. I mean, but Kulu I like as well. He's a nice trickler. Like
Yeah.
But if he was taking some set pieces, I would be more comfortable. Otherwise, like you're just 3 games,
Yeah.
3 blanks, and then you start getting uncomfortable.
If you can get in the ear of a West Ham fan and actually get enough accuracy about Kudus's minutes in the future and what the situation is with like Somerville, I think Kudus is really good as a pick.
I just
He
think you're catching a falling knife. That team is in a downfall. Like you can get lucky. Like the new manager comes and starts playing Kudus up front. Like, or he could play him in his best position. He becomes talismanic, or he doesn't like him. And like Kudus has had a lot of problems with Lopetegui as well. Like he had once he had this 5-match ban after the game. Semenyo is fine.
You know why I'm attracted to him as a pick is he's got pedigree. Like he did like 18, 19 goals plus assists last year as well. So like he's been there, done that, has the quality. Like yes, last year, every time we were watching West Ham play Pras, we were like, why did we get Antony and why did we not get Kudus? Because he's the real deal, right? So he's actually a really good player that sometimes gets missed out. We just don't know about the accuracy minutes. If you have confidence there, again, you're getting fruits to the punt right now in terms of the fixtures that are there in the next 3-4 games.
But if they lose to Wolves, then he's out, yeah? I think everybody is clear about that.
I think it's pretty much El Sacico. Whoever loses is gone.
El Sacico. Yeah, right. Gary O'Neill's interview surprised me, man.
Yeah.
Post match.
But did you see his Manager of the Month nomination for November? Like, what the hell is that?
What has he done? I don't understand. I guess the Cunha Worldies have probably got him there. But guys, what about the Man United mids?
The rotation central. Like a lot of people were asking me for Rashford. I said it. I don't think I'm confident Rashford starts against Arsenal either after the brace. Just learn right now. Nobody's a pick.
Cool. So again, 7 bracket, I think Gordon is a great shout. If you're going thereabouts, I think Gordon more so than Bowen. I think Gordon's back now.
Yeah. And the long-term purview. That's it. Bowen's also great though. Like he showed what you wanted him to show without actually getting the points. So.
Cool. Guys,
I think I can agree with that.
Let's talk captaincy.
It's interesting though. Like, firstly, do you think somebody can take on Salah this week? Like, I think there is an option to take him on if you want to show some courage or if you have the ability to show some courage because Everton are going to bus park. We don't know how slot teams are going to do against bus parking opposition at the moment. But they've won only once in the last 7 times at Goodison. Like Liverpool don't generally do well there. Liverpool don't generally do well in these early kickoffs, but it was all under Klopp. Like this is all cleaning the blank slate. You hold on to that information when it comes, but then Salah's just in a separate league. Every action that he's making is just so incisive. It's not fluky. It's perfect. It's on the money. His radar is 100% accurate at the moment. So that's the thing. That's it. I feel like Liverpool won't score more than 2 goals in this sort of game.
So that's double return for Salah.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's a bus park game. I think you can take it on if you want to.
Game state dependent, right?
Yeah.
First goal
we have
changes
taken on Salah 2 game weeks in a row. One game week we won by 1 point. This game week we lost by 11 points. The Palmer captainers.
People say, oh, screw the process and all. I think the process was spot on.
Oh, of course, fine. I'm fine with it. But screwed over.
Salah, getting screwed over was just like FPL, man. That's luck. Like I think
he's been doing it for 8 weeks.
I understand. It still doesn't change the fact, in my opinion, that Palmer cappers were extremely unlucky. It was absolutely the right decision to captain Palmer, and sometimes you pay attention to process. And again, like I feel like there's opportunity here, but if you want a safe as houses captain, Everton aren't a great team. Salah's just sitting right there. That's all.
But who's the alternative for you? Palmer, Haaland?
I spoke about Arsenal having an extra day against Fulham, who are without Anderson. Like that's a shout if you want to take
Fulham
on.
Fulham have been good, man, this year.
And Palmer again with the extra day, etc. Especially if Van de Ven and Romero both are again not going to be fit at the weekend. And in my case, I'm genuinely considering giving Haaland the captaincy armband as well this week. I think it's a good week to chance the arm. And Zach, only one reason, yes, Palace have been playing well defensively. But from a game, how I see the games going, Everton are going to park. I think Palace will be out to play. And I think that might give chances to Haaland if I want to take it on. So I feel like I might just want to chance my arm. The only thing is, I was reading the City news. Ake out is a problem because you want stability in terms of the defenders being fit. That said, Akanji looked like just like a bronchitis sort of illness, so he could be fit. So if the defenders, so if the Akanji also had some sort of illness or something. He wasn't unfit. So if it looks like the defenders are fit and most of the first team squad is fit, I am feeling like I'm chancing the arm.
But talk about the game. Like you said, you watched the game in some detail.
City were miles better because of Mr. Kevin De Bruyne. Like he's just so incisive with the timing of his pass, the weight of the ball that he passes the ball with. It was really good. Grealish centrally was really good as well, which led to Bernardo playing primarily on the right and Doku playing primarily on the left. The reason why Haaland got frustrated a lot is because a lot of the times Doku dribbled the ball, he didn't cross it at the right time, which is why he was getting impatient. Haaland had his. So what you don't see in the touch map was that Haaland was in the center of the box at least on 5 or 6 occasions where City were able to progress the ball very well, gave it to Doku, but then Doku does the Doku thing like Madueke where takes an extra touch or dribbles or pass an extra man, takes a shot when he should pass. So Haaland was like this like at least 7 or 8 times in that game, and then he got irritated. In the second half, he saw that he wasn't even trying that hard. But City as a unit just looked a lot more coherent because creative players like Grealish and Doku and De Bruyne were present, and that invariably makes the attack better.
But do you think De Bruyne starts again? He started Wednesday. The game is Saturday.
No, I'm not confident De Bruyne starts again.
That's
it. Nah, but my issue was earlier there was nobody. He was playing Rico Lewis on one wing and he was playing Guardiola on the other wing. Now we have Grealish, Doku, Savio and De Bruyne and Foden fit. So like there's enough creative players in Man City. Like De Bruyne being fit is as a Haaland owner and talking FPL strategy, all the proof I needed to very comfortably hold Haaland now for the next 6 or 7 weeks. Like the Zag that I'm playing holding Haaland, the guy's back. The guy who's going to supply Haaland with the goals is back. So I'm fine playing FPL because there will be, if he starts 4 out of the next 6 games, I hope I'm in the money. That's all.
Fair. But you don't have to captain him to make the gains. Is basically.
I did not I wasn't tempted to captain him against Forest. I was very confident about the captaincy on Palmer. I think Everton might be a park the bus game. I think they might frustrate Liverpool. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for Liverpool. Early kickoff, etc., all of that. And Everton are good at home in terms of parking the bus. And Liverpool have won there once in the last 7 occasions.
Again, under Klopp.
Under Klopp.
But it makes a difference. Everton, let's say if they had lost the last game, I would have been much more bullish on the captaincy. Because again, you have a bit of unrest, etc. So the fact that they won the game 4-0 obviously brings a bit of buoyancy to Goodison Park. So I get the point you're making now. The Saka one is an interesting shout because obviously Saka is up against Robinson, who we know whatever the opposition is, he's going to get forward a lot. So Saka might actually get some joy on that side. That's a fair shout. I like that. Apart from
Fulham just show up, man. Fulham show up for good games.
In the home games, they show up.
Before this game, you were tempted to take on Palmer. So, like, what's the...
I was tempted to go with the Tottenham thing. But yes, again, I won't be as confident as Palmer. But again, he's not getting as many big chances. In the Southampton game, he did get a few. But I'm not seeing him break into the box as much as I'd like. And there was an interview also they did where they spoke to him now about his output actually going down from last season. He mentioned, I don't care. I'm here to help the team and I don't care if my goal output is reducing a little bit. So there is a clear change of role in terms of Palmer's goal threat. That's why I said... Go ahead.
Why fix something that's not broken? Like Salah's in the form of his life. Liverpool are one of the best attacking teams in the country at the moment. And Everton are a bottom 10 team at the moment. So like, again, playing devil's advocate, there isn't a strong enough reason to not captain Salah at the moment. So that's I get that.
But for me, if I had Watkins, you can take him on. Watkins got a 65th minute sub. He's going to start. He is on 60
pens. Odd again, Pras very likely with Tuesday in mind.
But it's worth taking on.
Southampton.
You can take it on. You can take it on. I'm with Pras. You can take it on with Watkins if you have Watkins.
So I would personally not do it again because that's where I play. But if you asked me, like pick any team, pick a free hit team and you can't captain Salah, I'd probably captain Watkins.
I'd agree with you guys. Let's round up top 3 Salah alternatives in terms of captaincy. I think I'll go first. Like you mentioned, I like Watkins, then probably Jackson. The third one, probably Haaland. In that sense, with Haaland captaincy, you're always tempted to chance it. You never know when he could go big. That's probably it. You guys agree?
What do you guys think? Advice? again, I don't mind playing FPL because it's Salah or Haaland for me this week. I'm not going to lie. Like if I'm taking Salah on, it's going to be with Haaland.
I think you can, Ella, because ultimately the longer you hold Haaland without captaincy, the less it makes sense for me for you to hold him. Because again, at the game week after this, I think they are Villa, or who are they?
But I disagree, Zoph. I disagree with that.
Yeah, but because what am I like as a team? Except for Saka, I'm fine with whatever I have and I don't have. Like I'm not missing out on much. I've got triple Arsenal defense. I've got Palmer, Haaland, Salah,
It's
and I've
quite
got
simple. Your team is Dibbling, Haaland versus Saka's Isak. That's it.
Yeah.
It's exact same money.
Yeah.
That's all. So whichever week Saka and Isak, one of them does well, Haaland has to basically match that, or vice versa.
Yeah. The strikers are doing well though. Like that little nod to you, Pras, where you've managed to keep me afloat in this sinking ship with your penalty winning ability.
Yes.
Yeah. So good job there. But yeah, I'm contemplating. I'm not made up my mind, and I want to see what Pep says in the presser. If there's too much injuries and too many problems, then I don't think I'm going to take it on. But I just feel like that might be a more open game than the Park Bus game.
Yeah.
But like
it very likely
it's so
will
game
be.
state dependent. If Everton concede though in the first 15 minutes, then Daesh teams bend over backwards, right? And then it's like 3-4-0. You don't know what happens then. So that's the thing.
Anything else, guys, on this section?
No, Captain Saka though. Having thought about it, the only person you can really take Salah on, Captain Salah though. The only person you can really take Salah on is with Watkins. There's not enough conviction in the Saka captaincy. Maybe Palmer, if Van de Ven and Romero are injured. So I prefer Palmer to Saka, I think.
I'd agree with that.
Next week will be fun for captaincy. Like, this week, like all the big hitters are away. Next week is the opposite. Everyone has a lovely home fixture. You can go anywhere.
But you guys are set on your Mo captaincy?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
There's no need to go against.
Yeah, like you said, next week is interesting. Just look at Haaland as United at home, Saka Everton, Salah has Fulham. Palmer
It's between the
has
three
Brentford.
mids.
Isak has Leicester.
Isak has
Everyone
Leicester.
has a nice home.
Ooh. Hey, Pras, I would be tempted, huh? Because West Ham are on their feet. Like you're the Isak owner. Like if you had to take it on, like I don't think Isak is a terrible shout.
You mean Brentford?
Yeah, why do you say West Ham? West Ham are playing Wolves.
Sorry. Isak is playing Brentford. Brentford are terrible, man. They're conceding
But at
chances.
home they're okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
at
And
Newcastle
Newcastle
away,
away.
like it's just not the same. Like you're taking on Salah. Like if Man City was playing Liverpool, like that one of those weeks, then you can start to be creative and go for like these off-piste shouts. Nah, man.
All right. Cool.
Sleeper plug, guys.
So we have a league, and it starts. No, they've missed out on the first week. But you can still. There's lots of game weeks in December, so you can join if you like. So we have this league where you have to basically predict the results, and this basically Rob T graphic here is helping you. Like you can pick the winners, or you can pick a draw in each of the games, and you have to do it consistently. 3 winners at the end of the month from our Discord league win a Premier League jersey of their choice, and one winner from our public league wins a Premier League jersey of their choice every single month. And we've been doing it since August. And if you want to download the app, it is on the top right. And if you want to join our league, that is on the bottom right. That's our Pick'em League code. If you want to join our Discord league, then you have to be basically a member on patreon.com/the FPL Wire, or a YouTube member. If you join that, you get automatic access to the Pick'em Discord league as well.
Cool. Let's move on to our drafts.
Sounds good.
So Joy is actually saying that the sleeper is much harder than it sounds. Yes, this is why people rarely make money in betting. Now, sleeper has nothing to do with betting. What I'm saying is predicting games results is hard. It's not easy. And in this game, there are no odds, right? In other things where money is involved, you actually have odds against you as well. If you predict a Chelsea win against Leicester, it sometimes may not happen. So it is hard. And essentially what I mean is get involved because it's equal for everyone. It's hard for everyone.
Cool. Like and subscribe plug as we discuss our teams, please, Alar.
So Zoph and I were watching football till 4 a.m. Got up, managed to clock a couple of hours of highlights, stats, etc. Managed to go through the working day so that we could get you the pod within 20 hours of the game week commencing, and Pras is doing the same as well. I just wanted to substantiate that we were up till 4 a.m. watching the games as well, so that we could be in time and updated well before the spot. So if you appreciate that kind of effort, we'd love for you to hit like and subscribe and keep us going.
And more content coming as well. I think, Pras, you're targeting to do your team selection video tonight after the games?
I'll do it right after the game, yeah. So it'll be late. Maybe I'll upload it in the morning. I will see. But it'll be done tonight.
LR and I will be doing our team selection videos tomorrow, and I'll also be doing the stat review video for our Patreons tomorrow. I couldn't get around to it today. First up, your team, LR.
I've got 2 free transfers now. I've got Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Aitnuri, Salah, who's currently bus captain, Palmer. It's going to be one of Salah or Haaland, depending on how Pep's press conference goes. Salah, Palmer, Mbeumo, Rogers, Haaland, Evan Nielsen, Pedro, and Greaves. I'm either banking the transfer or I'm doing Mbeumo to Gordon, I reckon, as of today.
It's a bank, I think.
I mean, with your team, it's such a fun spot because, remember 2 weeks ago when you were choosing paths, I told you like it'll become like you won't have a lot of degrees of freedom. But I think one thing that it does give you is you can just play around with that Mbeumo slot, like that or Evanisel and 8 Nouri slots. Those 3 slots, you just play around with it and maybe even upgrade Rogers after this week. Like Rogers' fixtures aren't that great. There is still some degree of movement, but you can't go for the expensive punts, but you can go for the cheaper punts.
One of the reasons why I don't mind the accumulation is I'm actually looking at Formium. And for that, I need 3 or 4 transfers in my mind, which involves downgrading a certain Raya to get Saka in place before that Game Week 18 run. So one of the reasons I'm looking to save is because I think my biggest risk are Isak and Saka. And I think there is a path to get Saka in place as well. So one of the reasons why I'm attracted to saving a transfer is because accumulate 3 or 4 transfers, change structurally, remove funds from positions I don't need and get Saka in place. So go up from Mbeumo to Saka.
Dude, you want to see that in your team selection? I want to see that path because it's hard with double Arsenal defense. But anyway,
it's hard.
But that's for another video.
Yeah, that's one other video.
Cool. Your team, Pras?
So this is my team: Raya in goal, Pinnock, who will leave the team, Gabriel, Rico Lewis. So hopefully Rico Lewis starts this one because he missed midweek. Then I have Saka, Salah captain, Palmer, Mbeumo, who will sadly, with a heavy heart, may leave this team. Cunha, Isak, João Pedro, and I'm benching Rogers again, but I think I will change. I might bench Cunha, maybe. It's between those two. Like benching one of those two. We'll see the press conference or whatever.
I don't think you bench Cunha in this game, Pras.
Who else do you bench?
I think you bench Rogers, man. I don't think Rogers. I think if you ask me if I had to gun to my head, Rogers isn't starting.
Yeah, plus I'd bench Rogers too. Also, just one point to note on Southampton, right? Southampton played Chelsea without Howard Bellis, Downs, and Dibbling. They're all back. So it's quite an important upgrade. And if you remember the performance that Southampton had against Brighton just before the Chelsea game, it was a very encouraging performance as well. So that change in team is going to be there as well. So just wanted to add that as a layer to your thinking.
So my thinking of benching midweek Rogers was basically I believed that Villa plays Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Duran plays one game minimum. Like he will get a game, and I still believe that. And because Watkins got off on the 65th minute, yes, it is a chance that Duran and Watkins start this one because it's Southampton, right? Play 2 attackers. So this is what my first instinct was, that Rogers will be there if needed. If I had a Jackson type thing, I would have got Rogers' points. I didn't. So that's where we are. So we'll see. So the moves that I'm planning are Mbeumo down to Semenyo, who plays Ipswich, and Pinnock up to Trent. That would basically be the move. That would give me basically 3 defenders that I want very long term. Trent, double Arsenal defense. And I will still have money, 0.4 in the bank to do, whatever I want, like 8 Nouri up to a 5 million defender, Lewis up to a 5 million defender. So that's basically but the path of the team, I'll talk about it in my team selection, is basically after this, I'm basically waiting for game week 17, 18 fixture swings, because then Cunha will need to go, 8 Nouri will need to go, maybe even Semenyo goes up to someone else like Eze. So those are the 3 spots that I will play around with. So that's the plan.
I like the path.
I like the path too.
My team, I've got Flecken in goal, Lewis, Gabriel and Nouri, Salah cap, Mbeumo, Palmer, Saka and Semenyo, Jackson and Pedro, with Strand Larsen, Mikalenko and Greaves in the bench. 2 free transfers, 2.8 million in the bank. So what I'm thinking is now if I potentially see that Mitoma is benched today, I have exact money where I can do Mbeumo to Mitoma and let's say Mykolenko and who's that? Yeah, Mykolenko and Nuri up to Timber and Trent. It would be a hit. So Mitoma, Timber and Trent would come in. That's something I'm interested in for 0.0 in the bank. Or alternatively, I think one of the defenders will come in this week. I'm leaning towards Timber. I want to have potentially some cash in the bank because plus I think I'm interested in doing the Jackson to Isak move the next week. I think for longer term hold, I think Isak's better with those Ipswich Leicester fixtures. Alternatively, I could even go straight Strand Larsen to Isak this week, but then I think I want to give Strand Larsen at least the 2 games after this. I'm in fact thinking I might even start him over Semenyo. What do you guys think about that first up?
He almost scored against Everton. You saw he didn't know whether to head the ball or to kick the ball, and it was somewhere in the middle eventually.
Yeah.
See how tonight goes, but I'd start him over Semenyo.
I think so. Like just the feeling of that game is such a do or die game, and the fact that Bournemouth's turnaround is short, Ipswich are a bit better, and I just feel more confident with Bournemouth at home. That's my general feeling about it. But I think Timber in probably for Mykolenko, it's a likely transfer as it stands. Cool.
Nice.
We have a couple of super chats, guys. We missed them last time. I don't want to do that again. Let's just cover those. From Pulkit, for people on Haaland, Palmer, Mo, that is your setup, LR. Would you say the only way to get Saka and sell Haaland, or one could swerve Saka and keep Haaland somewhere?
I mean, you need to start removing funds from your defense, going to make compromises there. For the Mbeumo position, again, you can't afford your Gordons, etc. You need to go very cheap. Punt on a Clivert or something of that sort. So you need to squeeze out your funds, maybe have a very constrained squad, which isn't very ideal. So like, Pras spoke about he wants to see my team selection, but it's very difficult. I was quickly playing around to see if anything is possible. It's incredibly difficult right now. So it's one or the other, or you need to get rid of a couple of defenders, if not one. That's the thing.
So if you want to see a setup that has all 4, there is one team that I know on Twitter that is FPL 420. He's a meme artist. Go to his team. He's got all 4. But then, as you'd expect, he has no Arsenal defense. His second most expensive attacker is João Pedro. So it gets very tight. And one injury means basically you have to make a transfer. So it's not my cup of tea, but if it's yours, you can check out his team.
Our boy Walsh has it as well.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, he's on a Formium.
How many points has he spent to get to it? He takes like a -8 every week.
He's taken a few hits in the last 2-3 weeks. I know that.
So would you keep Haaland or sell him to get Saka? Let's say you have to stick to only 3. Would you sell Haaland now for Saka?
I think the timing to sell Haaland right now isn't very healthy.
I'd agree
with the main man back.
It also depends, but also what that really 5 million gets you in that difference. Yeah. So I would say without answering that.
I feel like the time to make your bed was 2 weeks ago. And I don't think we've seen anything drastic to change which way you want to go. Like if that's it. There's no other answer there.
Right. From Shaunak, transferred in Evanilson for Havertz in 14 seems LR's trust in him. Of course, we have Pras there. Is it worth to take -4 for Mbeumo, Davies to Mitoma, Trent? This is what we've discussed in the pod earlier, just to take it for a hit this week.
I don't mind it.
But can I make a comment on your, because you also talked about Mitoma. If you see him benched this week, then you will buy him. Isn't that counterintuitive?
I want to say why. Exactly, because it mentions he has a knock. Not because of his rotation concerns.
Okay.
That's why.
Because then, fine.
Exactly. Because I get exactly the point. He makes more rotation, then why do you want to buy a guy who's more rotation pro?
But to answer Shaunak's question, taking out Mbeumo this week for a hit doesn't sit that right with me. Just wait. Just wait 1 week. Like Newcastle at home is an okay fixture. Like Mitoma, even if it's Leicester, is not that much better. Like, okay, people hate Mbeumo right now, but it's a home game. Like he could do anything. I am selling, so I'm not saying keep him forever. So I want to caution that. But you're doing it for a hit. That's the difference. To do it for a hit, selling a good player, playing a home game on penalties, on set pieces, you could wait a week. It's not the end of the world.
Cool. Let's wrap up, guys.
Just quickly reading out, I managed to find Walsh's team for people that are interested what a team looks like. That's a Formium. His attack is actually pretty decent. He's got Haaland, Strand Larsen, and Pedro as the front 3. In midfield, he's got Saka, Palmer, Salah, and Eze. And the 8th attacker is Dibbling. So the front 8 is actually pretty decent. It's after that it gets a little bit dodgy and ugly. In defense, you basically just pick 4.5 defenders of your choice and have Fabianski as the only keeper. That's how it works. So you're compromising on Arsenal defense, etc. and that's how you get that. But
Well done
you know,
on
if
keeping
you
a
went
straight
as a,
face.
yeah, it's not for Pras.
I mean, I will every night I will not be able to sleep thinking what's going to happen if there's an injury, and I'll be like, why can't I just sell one of these guys to
No,
spread the
no.
funds?
He's got 4.5 defenders. So like you fill your teams up with
Does he not have that
Mikalenko.
Chelsea centre back? I remember his team. Yes,
Badiashile.
Tosin.
Oh,
Does he have
Badiashile.
Badiashile?
Yeah, he got Badiashile.
That's not a defender.
Can you guys
Yeah,
not
but
see
like
the
you-
highlighted comments I'm putting up?
We
I
can,
guess
but
not.
we're ignoring them.
Okay.
By the way, there is another super chat from Emre Kappa.
Oh, sorry, missed that.
It's Trent and Semenyo or Gomez and Fernandes. That's an interesting question.
Repeat that for me. I don't know how I missed that one.
Would you go Trent and Semenyo? Sorry, Trent and Semenyo. Basically, it's a question for me. I can do it. Trent and Semenyo or Gomez and Fernandes. Like after
Bruno
yesterday.
Fernandes.
Yeah.
Bruno
Trent and
Fernandes not
Semenyo.
big at them.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. We didn't talk Man United,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
every other game he is either playing in the 6 or in the 10. And as long as Garnacho and Rashford continue to play as the 10, they will be the more attacking of the two. And Mount is getting a lot of minutes in the 10. I just don't think Bruno is that pick now. And Gomez, the other thing, like I was actually considering this week to keep Mbeumo, just get Gomez, right, for one free transfer and then roll 2. But Gomez did not inspire me. Like he will definitely miss 2 games over the period. So it doesn't look great. Like you can have him, but it doesn't look great. You both are smiling. What's going on, man?
The chat is lit
Zoph-
today, Pras. You have to look back. The chat is lit.
Zoph in the last 20 minutes, I don't think has listened to a word.
He's
both
not
of us
been
have
paying
said.
attention. I know exactly.
The chat is lit, guys. Guys, you're missing out on the chat.
He's just chilling with the chat today.
On this
But
note,
it's all-
if you're in the chat and you're having fun, please hit the subscribe button. We have now, where are we? 34. We have
34,
to-
100.
So we have to reach 35K. That's 900 that we need. And there's 900 people watching. So if half of you are not subscribed, if even half of you do it, we'll be halfway there to our Christmas goal.
We've got like 20 days and we're at 34, 150. So we need exactly 840 in like 20 days. So I don't like the odds of that. What are we looking at? Like 840 divided by, looking at like 40, 50 subscribers a day, guys. Like you guys need to be a lot more generous. And if you guys are like there with us through the journey always, then it might not be a bad idea to log on to your girlfriend's phone, your dad's phone, your helper's phone, and then hit subscribe. Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
Cool. Nehal had a super chat also. Mbeumo to Mitoma or Vissa to Evanilson. I've already replied him to the chat. I think Evanilson makes more sense.
Good entry, but Vissa at home, you've seen the stats, right?
I think he means
Yeah.
a game week after.
Well, Vissa is home to Newcastle.
Or he means next game week. Oh, yeah, next game week. I thought he meant 16. Fair enough.
So
I
it's
get your point.
risky. Like, if the question is long term, would you hold Vissa or Mbeumo? I'd rather hold Mbeumo long term. Like, sorry, regardless of whatever you say, Mbeumo is still
Also-
fish and chips.
And Thiago is fit. Like that's a problem with Vissa. You don't know when that's going to become a problem with Vissa.
Cool. Great chat, guys. Pod went for 90 minutes.
Bloody hell.
It's been
Zoph
fun.
isn't such a-
It's been fun. I had fun today. Cool, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you're on audio, I highly recommend YouTube and checking out the live chat. It was a fun one today. Spicy and feisty. Thanks for joining us. More content coming tomorrow. Good luck with the game week. See you next.
See you.